So before I say literally anything else, I want to direct everyone's attention to the options menu. In the options menu under the gameplay tab, there is a particular feature that I highly recommend anyone who intends to play this game enables, and that is zip mode. Zip mode will save you so much time watching overly long animations, especially if you're someone that is not playing this on PC. This is the PC version of XCOM 2, by the way. If you're someone that's on console or whatever, please enable zip mode. It will save you so much time watching overly long animations like reloads and just stuff like that. It's not perfect. It's not as powerful as some mods as far as the time-saving potential, but if you plan on playing this game at all, please enable zip mode. The next thing I want to go to. So XCOM 2 has a feature where you can create your own characters. Now here's a list of characters. I did not make these. These are actually the developers of the game. XCOM 2 by default has one importable character pool, which is all of the developers of the game. So we're going to bring them along for the ride. Whether or not they survive, that's a whole nother story. I'll do my best to make sure that they stay alive though. Anyway, here are the parameters for this run. So, I'm going to be doing this on Commander, which is a significant challenge for experienced XCOM 2 players only. Excuse me while I trip over my words. I have not cleared a campaign since before the pandemic, so needless to say, it's been a while. Yeah. For that reason, I'm enabling the tutorial. Now, there's another reason I'm enabling the tutorial. Part of my goal with this run is to get as much narrative content out of the package of this whole run as possible. The tutorial has a lot of cutscenes, so fair warning, that's probably going to be like the first 2 to 3 hours of the game, depending on how I cut this up, of course. But again, I want to get as much blood from this stone as it were, so we are going to be going through the tutorial. And it'll help cover some of the mechanics. I will be approaching this run as though I'm playing it in front of someone that may not necessarily know what XCOM is, or hasn't played XCOM, or all that stuff. Ironman mode. So this is going to be an Ironman run. In an Ironman game, your progress is saved automatically. Basically, in short, every decision is final. All moves are final. You cannot save and reload if you got a bad attack roll, or you made a mistake, you misclicked something. That's Ironman mode. Now, again, I haven't done a campaign since before the pandemic, so let's see what happens. And then there's Lost and Abandoned, which is the tutorial content for War of the Chosen. That comes with the tutorial, so we're good here. Again, it's a really long mission as part of the tutorial package, so brace yourself for some more cutscenes. And I mean, it's not that bad. Well, it might be that bad. So, by the way, yes, I am doing this recording after having recorded everything. I realized that here in the beginning, I muted my audio, so I am basically covering this as though I'm doing it for the first time. I'm not doing a very good job of pretending. The illusion is broken. But anyway, in either case, this is where I stopped rambling. Let's just get started with the run. And once again, I apologize for any mistakes that happen.
Accessing the feed now. We're in. But I don't know for how long. You seeing this? Way too much security, even for Advent.
That's no ordinary gene therapy clinic. They were telling the truth.
Or they're leading us into a trap. A really obvious trap. We'd need an army to march in there right now.
I've got a better idea. Outrider, this is Central. Go.
timeline you placed upon us, mistakes are bound to happen.
It wasn't our fault. Please!
There's no need for any of this. I will do what you ask of me. I just need additional time.
Did you say something?
You're one of those. You must understand, I had no choice.
Outrider, report.
So, you do exist. Outrider to Avenger, I have visual confirmation.
Are you sure?
Reapers are always sure.
I'll take your word for it. Cover your tracks and get the hell out of there. They can't know we were here. Yet.
Understood. Now the real war begins.
Excitement continues to build as city centers across the globe prepare for the 20th anniversary of Unification Day.
Thousands line up at the site of the Great Accord, celebrating the formation of the Advent Coalition.
Keeping with their promise to humanity, 12 new gene therapy clinics will be opening in select cities by the end of the new year.
Despite the attempted attack by fringe elements, operations at the new facility in Paris thankfully remain unaffected.
In response to the unprovoked intrusion on the eve of our most beloved celebration, the speaker reaches out to us.
A small number of dissidents again repeat the mistakes of the old world.
Striking as we celebrate the benevolent savior who time and again offers only friendship and compassion.
Yet these trivial actions could never break the bond between humanity and the Elders.
Peacekeeping forces have already made several preemptive arrests of known collaborators. Advent again assures all citizens that today's celebrations will continue as planned.
Perfect.
The Advent administration reminds you to report all suspicious activity to your nearest peacekeeper. Only together can we build a better tomorrow.
Approaching position. You were right. They've definitely got their hands full today.
Stay focused. Prep gate crasher. 60 seconds. Now.
Signal received. Loud and clear. Okay, Gatecrasher. Your turn.
Advent forces are swarming to the blast point. We need to move on the package before they figure out what we're up to.
Alright.
First things first. You need to get out
The
of
tutorial is
sight.
going to cover a lot of the
Grab some
basic
cover near that
mechanics.
low wall.
I will have to probably do very little explaining, but here we go. So, here's our movement. Firaxis is also the developer that did a little game franchise called Civilization. So there are going to be a lot of elements that are similar, particularly the use of a tile-based kind of map or movement system. All of these little squares are your tiles, and these are all tiles that you can move on. So you typically get 2 actions per turn. You can see this in the unit flag, which is shown so nicely here. The unit flag shows the selected soldier's health and actions remaining. Soldiers get 2 actions per turn.
In position, but I'm exposed here.
It's better than nothing, but see if you can't find a safer position further out.
Looks like full cover ahead. Moving out.
So normally you get 2 actions worth of movement. Once you use both those actions, obviously you can't take another action. That unit is done for the turn. Ideally, you want to get your units in cover. The units in cover gain a defense bonus. Low cover provides moderate defense. High cover provides excellent defense. Now, this is defense not in the traditional sense, where it's like your defense score determines how much less damage you take. Here, defense affects the odds that an attack will hit.
Keep pace with Crasher 1.
Or miss. So yeah, here's another look at movement. All of this movement within the blue border takes 1 action point. This is the range of 1 action point movement. Anything outside of that, this yellow border, is considered your unit dashing and will take both of your action points.
Double time.
So dashing allows you to cover more distance.
They're holding position. We're gonna
But
have
you
to
don't
go
get
through
an
them.
extra action.
Stay out of sight until we're ready to strike.
Copy that.
Keep to the shadows until you're absolutely set. We'll only get 1 shot at this.
In the shadows.
Alright, so most missions start with the squad in concealment. Use concealment to set up ambushes. If any of your soldiers are spotted, all of your soldiers lose the benefits of concealment. So there is a little bit of a stealth mechanic to this game, but it's not stealth that's intended for you to go around sneaking around enemies and accomplish objectives without them knowing. The purpose of concealment is mainly for you to set up ambushes to get the drop on an enemy group and swing the odds in your favor
Don't get
just a
too
little bit.
close. They'll be spotted for sure and we'll lose our advantage.
So you basically get to move around for free while you are in concealment. However, the enemies do have a line of sight or a range of vision, which is denoted by all these red tiles. So obviously stepping on one of these red tiles will break your concealment and will alert the enemies to your position, which will allow them to basically reposition for free.
They may have the numbers, but
and
we've
give you
got
a hard time.
supplies on our side. Hopefully that's enough.
Remind me to thank the old man.
You and me both. We're not out of the woods yet. We need to take out those remaining soldiers.
I've got the trap on them. Permission to engage.
Do it.
Alright, so we're gonna start blasting. But before that, a quick look at the tactical UI that pops up whenever you start to attack. So in the bottom left is the breakdown of your odds of hitting. Soldiers have a basic aim stat. I think 65% is the bare minimum that they can have. So you always start with a 65% chance to hit. The effective range of the weapon also factors into this. Here, the rifle is only giving him a 3% bonus for a total of 68% chance to hit. Not fantastic, but it's not entirely terrible either. On top of rolling for a successful hit, you have to roll for damage. Kind of like rolling for damage in a tabletop. You have to roll your damage die. Here, the rifle does 3 to 5 damage. Given that these soldiers only have about 3 pips of health or 3 bars of health, any attack will kill them instantly, if it connects. So, don't really have to worry about damage variance here. On top of that, there is a chance for a critical hit to occur. A little bit more on that soon. For now, let's just shoot.
Crasher 1 is on the board.
Alright, so as you can see there, this entire squad loses concealment when any soldier attacks an enemy, which is what just happened. A door is kicked open or a window is broken open because that makes a lot of noise. And a soldier is flanked or steps on a detection tile.
They can see you now. How about you all shoot first and celebrate later? No problem.
So, yeah. Once concealment is broken, any remaining enemies that are around to see you will basically get to reposition for free, which is why it's ideal to set yourself up in such a way
I appreciate
that
the
your
but you're dangerously close right
concealment
now.
breaking
Be careful.
attack wipes out as many enemies as possible. So here we're going to shoot again, and here we can see another look at the hit breakdown. So again, 65% chance base aim. 13% weapon range from the rifle, 5% on a good angle. Angles are also a factor that affect your chances to aim. Negative 20% from low cover. So once again, low or half cover is a negative 20% penalty to any attacks that are being made, and high cover is 40%.
You're still keeping score, right?
Not going out fatty.
So that first attack was good because it missed, but unfortunately Crasher 2 put herself in a spot where she has no cover from this attack, and so she is now dead.
No, Crasher 2 is down. She's gone.
Damn it! You can't take risks like that. Watch your flanks.
So that's how you want to play it. Okay.
Alright, so this next move is going to put Crasher 1 to flank the enemy. Maneuver to flank enemy units so you can hit them from vulnerable angles. Cover does not protect a unit from the side. I mean, that just makes sense, right? Attacking a flanked unit ignores its defensive bonus, and there is a high chance to score a critical hit. Do not let enemies flank you. So, if a target is flanked, by default, it seems like there is a 40% chance for the attack to deal critical damage. Obviously, since you want more damage most of the time, the ideal is for you to put yourself in a position where you can flank the enemy and roll for that extra damage. However, the same also applies to your soldiers, so do be careful.
She's calling reinforcements. Stop that. Transmission.
Central, reporting in.
You're late. What have you been doing down there?
Taking in the sights.
What the hell are these things?
They're us. At least there used to be. Human hybrid soldiers. Advent's reward for obedience and service.
We've all heard rumors. I just never believed it was true.
No one wanted to. But we find what we're looking for today. I promise you that's gonna change. Let's move.
Looks like that transmission went through. You have an Advent transport closing on your position.
You heard her. Cover the left side.
Alright, so we may have lost Crasher 2, but we gained 2 more allies in the process. Unfortunately, so did the Advent troops.
Fire on anything that moves.
So, from time to time, the enemy forces will call down reinforcements on your position. Something that you can do to prepare for their arrival is set your soldiers into Overwatch. Overwatch allows you to fire on the first enemy that moves within your line of sight with a penalty to aim. This is a good defensive move to aim, to end your turn on, rather. If you can kind of force the enemy out of cover and into the open. Since shooting at them in cover will probably have a lower chance to hit anyway.
The main entrance is clear. We need to move on the package.
It's not your only defensive move, but it's a more passive defensive, or what should I call it? I guess it's more like a passive offense.
Menace 3, you're up.
Hold up. You should check that body for salvageable gear. We need anything
Anyway,
we can get at this point.
from time to time, enemies will also drop loot.
Advent rigs their stuff to self-destruct.
All you gotta do to pick it up is walk into the big yellow square. Loot is typically on a 3-turn timer. After that, it'll just disappear. Which can be a little bit of an issue if the loot is dropped, like, at the other end of an engagement, and in order to pick it up, you would have to put your soldier in a position where they can get readily flanked or have very little cover. So, a little bit of a risk to that. Loot is typically stuff like weapon modifications and enhancements for your troops, but sometimes you can get some supplies out of it too.
Reinforcements just hit the ground.
They're getting nervous. Now I know we're in the right place.
Alright, so the reinforcements have arrived. 2 soldiers and an officer. But in reality, it's 1 soldier and 1 officer, because that Overwatch attack
Well
hit.
done. Fall back to our position.
Just go. I'll try to stall him here.
So Crasher 1 is gonna buy us some time. His Overwatch shot was pretty good. But unfortunately, this regular shot is not.
What the? I'm going for the door.
Alright.
You should be able to cut
So,
right through the door's security protocols.
some
They
missions
were never expecting
will
you
have
to get this
objects
close.
like doors and stuff that have to be hacked open. Mercifully enough, if it's a mission critical objective, you are always guaranteed to open it. Mission critical objectives that can be hacked open can also provide you the chance to get a reward for a successful hack above a certain level. However, given that Jane's tech score is only about 5 and the doors is 60, that's not going to happen. So here the hack rewards are immediate concealment or complete immunity for the next 2 attacks. However, those only have 6% and 2% chances of happening regardless. That's not happening. So, but thankfully there's no drawbacks to quote-unquote failing the hack. Although there are certain objects that you can try to hack for benefits that do have consequences for failure, such as giving the enemies stat boosts or calling in extra enemies to your location. But we'll see more of those later on. So let's just continue on for now.
To secure the package.
Let's hope our intel was good.
This is the place.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Looks like there's an access panel attached. If you got me a better look, I might be able to...
Next time. Let's get out of here.
Alright. So, we've got our objective in sight, however, we have to carry it out. Soldiers can carry unconscious, dead, and bleeding out units. This allows a soldier to retrieve a fallen comrade. So, carrying out unconscious and bleeding units makes sense because you can potentially save their lives.
That security grid just lit up. Firebrand is holding nearby for evac, but it's now or never, Central.
Understood. We're on the move.
Dead units may be a little bit of a question mark, but there is a purpose to carrying out dead soldiers. Sentimental reasons aside.
No! Central, Crasher 1 is down. You have to get out of there.
We need another exit, now!
So I'll talk about that in a little bit. First, we have more pressing matters to attend to. So going out the front door is obviously not an option given that there's 2 Advent troopers here, and Jane is the only one capable of shooting a gun right now, because when you carry a unit, you cannot fire your weapon.
Got it covered.
However, if you didn't know, Jane is a little bit of a locksmith, and her preferred tool of choice is the grenade. Grenades are not as lethal as firearms, but can damage multiple units and destroy cover and walls. Grenades are wonderful. They are problem solvers.
Works for me.
They not only destroy parts of the environment, which in turn can destroy enemies' cover and render them completely exposed for flanking shots, but the damage they deal is guaranteed as opposed to rolling a chance for your firearm to hit. So a soldier that's carrying a unit may not be able to shoot their gun, but does not suffer any movement penalties. So they can still go full distance while carrying another unit.
Way too close.
So Jane got lucky with that miss there. But Central's gonna take one hell of a hit.
Firebrand, this is Gatecrasher. We need an immediate evac. Get us out of here.
Luckily, all you need is 1 health. That's all you need to stay alive. And Central has just that. So most missions will give you the option to call for evac. In most situations, you'll be doing this if you want to pull a unit that's been severely wounded or is at a good risk of dying out of the battlefield. You can also use evac to abort a mission that is just going south and you feel like you have no chance of winning. in order to save as many soldiers as possible. The nice thing about evac is that once your unit touches this blue square, they can just leave. They don't need to spend an action point. They can do this even if they dashed. They can just leave. And so we're gonna just leave because we're done here.
There's potentially decades of atrophy to contend with.
Wish we had more time.
I don't disagree.
But as it stands now, we risk losing the patient if we don't begin the removal procedure immediately.
We're ready.
Good. Then let's get on with it.
Remarkable.
Just like 20 years ago. We were still calling it a war back then. We had no idea what was coming.
Response from the cerebral cortex. Good. Prepping for cranial intrusion. I've managed to identify the connection. Preparing to make final incision.
These readings are getting really erratic.
Of course they are. These implants were never designed to be removed. We are risking severe...
No plan B here, people. Do it.
Pupillary response normal. Vital stabilizing. Procedure complete.
Told them it would take more than that to keep you down. Welcome back, Commander. Glad to see you're finally coming out of it. Don't envy the headache you must have, though. Still, can't fault Dr. Tygan. Especially as no one's even attempted something like this before. Easy. We're still not entirely sure what they did to you. That chip was buried halfway into your skull. Lost a lot of good soldiers looking for you over the years. Almost gave up hope you were still out there. Acted on the intel as soon as I got word. Not sure what you remember, but a lot's changed. Did the best I could, but the last 20 years have been tough without you. You feel like catching up. Shen has the archive up and running on your terminal. Otherwise, I'd go see Dr. Tygan when you're ready. There's some things you should know. He'll be better at explaining them than me. It's damn good to have you back, Commander.